Hello everyone.
Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
to our chat show again.
Yeah.
And my beautiful wife, Ahiranta.
Yeah, and
Yum,
my
yum,
wonderful husband, Indiana, or Ose, whatever you want to call him.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can call me anything. I've been called worse names than you can imagine. Anyway, talking about that, today I spoke with one of the young people that I converse with, and he got rejected by his girlfriend. And so we're going to use that as a topic today,
Okay.
about rejection, because, it kind of, for a lot of people, it shapes them. When you're a young fella, and you get rejected, sometimes it goes back to your mother rejecting you, not feeling connected with your mum. And often I've noticed over the years that, young people looking for partners, they often choose people they know is beyond, their reach. And they're sure going to get rejection, so they keep reliving that horrible feeling that they always felt when they were with their mother or parents. It can be daughter as well and father. So it's like it sets in place a certain kind of feel that you're used to living with, and that feel is rejection in your stomach.
And that is what you're used to, and that's why you search for it, to relive
Yeah. You it's like deep down you're dissatisfied with yourself. You've measured yourself, and there's no self-worth, and so you keep reinforcing that by finding the kind of people who are going to reject you, like who's too far above you in some way, or they think. And so I'm trying to explain to this young fella that I know, well, he's not really young, he's in his 30s, but to us he's young.
Yeah, most people are young.
Yeah, but everyone sometimes makes a prison in their mind, and they set the bars, and that's their world inside the prison. And so what we aim to do is try to break those bars away and show you it's just your own mind. It's not a prison, it's just you. And it's everything that you have created, and you can free yourself. So that's where we're coming from. We're going to...
Oh, you share our experience as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? That comes with decades of aging, really.
Yeah. And suffering, and part of it again, we've said this before in our other videos, tiredness. So like it's funny how when we become tired and something doesn't go right, suddenly we start filtering through everything that we've done, and we start looking at all the rejections that we've had in our life, and we say, like, we feel like we are not worthy of better than what we are getting or what we get. And it's not true.
Tiredness and negativity go hand in hand, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
When we are tired, we go back to our childhood traumas, teenage traumas, and traumas if you're an adult as well. When you're rested, you think you have left it behind.
Yeah.
Only to find the moment you get tired.
Yeah.
All those
emotional
negativity comes back, self-doubt, and like you said, not worthy, not feeling worthy. Yeah, tiredness is our enemy, isn't it? It does so much harm.
Yeah. It's like the, I always say it's the instincts, because you go into fight and flight. And when you're tired, they are more closer to the surface. And you're more likely to be taken on a magical negative mystery tour with your emotions, and you look at everything, and that's the time that people most likely they're going to commit suicide, and it's
Self-harm.
Self-harm and what have you. And it's just not, you're just tired, and those things don't exist, and people are forever trying to better their role, and there's where you've got to look. And I know we spoke about this so many times before, role playing. You develop a role, and then you bring it into the world of human beings. Then you try to adjust that. You're trying to get better all the time. You're trying to make your role better, and you have to remember not to forget You're playing a role. It's
Don't
not real.
identify with it, yeah. Don't identify with the role. Don't think you are the role.
Yeah.
And why do we play the role? We play a role to get something we desire, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop desiring, you can stop playing roles.
Yeah. Yeah,
Isn't it?
that's bang on, yeah.
Yeah. So the desire to be with that girl makes him play a role, and I don't know what the story is of that young man and the girl, but in principle it comes down to the same thing with people. You desire to be with somebody, and then you try to become something that person is looking for.
Yeah.
And the moment you forget that you are playing a role, when you reject it, you're hurt.
Yeah.
And some people are absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Because they forgot you're not that role. Not many people are completely themselves. Because when you are completely yourself, without any role playing, you wouldn't go anywhere. You wouldn't talk to anybody because you don't have the desire to go somewhere. You don't have the desire to be with people. You're totally how do you call that? A unit, totally independent unit, established within yourself. Sometimes I have a bit of trouble finding the word.
Yeah.
But so it is the identifying and the desire that brings all that suffering, isn't it? When it doesn't go your way.
And it's just, you have to remember, like I said, that is not who you are. It's rejected. That role is rejected. And if you know who you are, then you cannot be flattened. You cannot hurt. You cannot feel poison about yourself. Because you know the truth is you're just playing roles, and behind the roles is emptiness, is stillness, is calm, is at ease, is at peace. But as soon as you start playing a role and you're playing through desire, like there's sex desire is one of the biggest movers of human beings out there, and I could connect everything we do to the sex desire. Earning wages. Why do we earn wages? Because we want money. Why do we want money? To stay, keep a house, to buy a car, to go out, socialise. And every one of them, house, car, wages, socialising, it's all about, if you've got a house, it's because you're bringing children up, or you're going to bring children up.
Or you live with a partner, not necessarily children.
You may not fit into those categories, but whoever you are, I know that somewhere, you trace where you're at is out here somewhere, but if you trace it down through the branches and into the root, you'll find that it comes directly from sex desire, where you're standing right now, except for children, of course, but they came from sex.
And the desire from sex comes from our fear of death.
Yeah.
It is well known that after a big disaster or people
Danger.
have been to a funeral, that they have done a research, I didn't research it myself, but that there is a high percentage of children being born 9 months later because people look for security through sex. And as long as you know how the wheels work, because that girl who rejected that young man you speak of, she's playing a role too.
Yes,
and in her role, she
Yes.
brings her expectations and her desires. And if they don't match, then you will be rejected, isn't it?
Yeah.
But she plays also a role to get what she is desiring.
Yeah. It's just, you've got to remember it's bullshit, really, because in an ideal world, you'd see a woman you fancy, she fancies you, without all the, filters that they put on it. And you have sex, you have babies, end of story, job done. And you say, oh well, yeah, but you've got to love the person. Well, I'm absolutely sure there's few people out there that know what real love is, and they live with fake love. It's really attachment. It's attachment to a lifestyle. It's attachment to sex. It's attachment to that human being that you're living with. It's not love.
No, it's
What
a
is it
security,
really?
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
that's
finding
right.
security
Yeah.
in each
Yeah,
other.
that's right. You're kind of satisfying your insecurity.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
you feel. Lots of people find it difficult to be on their own.
Yeah.
And when you are with somebody else,
Lonely.
people experience loneliness. But if you are established in yourself, you don't really need another person, because love and need are two totally different things.
Yeah.
And the majority of people we come across don't love themselves. They dislike themselves, they're not happy with themselves, they're not happy with how they look, they're not happy with how heavy they are, they're not happy with their hair color, they're not happy with their skin color, anything.
Themselves.
So look around you, how many people dye their hair? Why do they do that? They will say, well, because I like it. Yeah, what's wrong with your own color? How you have been created from nature itself. Why do we all need to lose weight so you are accepted in society? No, if you're overweight, we should lose weight because it's healthier for ourselves, for our system, but not for cosmetic reasons. And why do we do it for cosmetic reasons? In the hope you attract another person so you don't feel so lonely and insecure. And people say, but I don't feel insecure. It goes so deep that most people you
don't even know you're doing it.
No, they live here. And why do I know that? I've been there. I've done it myself. And through meditation, I've come to see, under the guidance of Jose, I've come to see the workings of myself. And now I love myself and I accept myself for who I am. But don't get me wrong, when I get tired, I also sometimes feel insecure. Not often, but that is due to inner work. Isn't it?
But it's recognizing it, isn't it?
Did you? Yes, and that is true, sitting in silence and look at yourself and contemplations, and not looking at yourself in judgment, but just in you observe and accept fully.
As soon as you look at it, it changes it.
Yeah, but you look at yourself in full acceptance, whereas normally we hide whatever we think society will reject us on. And we play a role and create a front from which we enter society, and everything we hope they will never see this or never see that of me, because then they won't like me, for example. And did you advise the young man to meditate?
I've known him for a few years now, and he always knows. It always runs off with, I always say, there's nothing. You are nothing.
But if he
spent more time, rejected.
Yeah, but if he spent more time with himself in meditation, then he wouldn't feel so hurt, because then he would come to understand.
He already told me. Yeah, he already said I need to go back in meditation because he's a young man and he has a job. He got to keep a living, and sometimes the world gets on top of us. And he comes to me. I just remind him really of what he already knows. Yeah. And then he remembers, I got to go back to meditation.
Yeah, because he fell down back, not down, it is not to do with levels, but I talk about grooves on I don't know, the youngsters among you don't probably know record players. When we grew up, we had music not like on demand like we have now. We had a black disc with grooves, and you fall back in a groove, I say. When that young man, he knows the answers, he knows already the path, but he fell back in a groove of his instinct, which is sex drive, probably.
Yeah. Well, you just give a clue. It's like a lot of it. Not people have got not enough time on their hands to. They think they haven't got enough time on their hands to sit in meditation. And you just spoke about something which is really a powerful tool to use, and that is sit down, look at yourself. Well, you don't need to sit down and look at yourself, because no matter where you are, as soon as you look at it, it's like putting a laser light on it, and it changes. Because we are mostly instinctive human beings, and the instincts take over. The instincts don't think. I'm scared. I'm going to run.
Fight.
I'm
flight.
scared. I'm going to fight.
Yeah.
I don't like this, the way this feels. I've got to do something. And you don't think that. You react. And that's our biggest enemy. It's the instincts. But as soon as you start looking on it, it's like putting a light on a dark room. You sit down and you look at it, you say, oh, I can see it now. I see it. You can see everything. You see all the obstacles in the room, and you can see. And as soon as you see it, it changes. So sit down or stand up even. You can even do it when you're like this, sitting down talking to somebody. You can have a little thought, think, why did I react like that? And then you look at it, whatever, and you start unwinding the knots then and untying the knots by looking at it.
Without judgment.
Yeah. And so
it's all good. Everything that brings suffering is a gift.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Yeah.
It's like you need a little slap around the head sometimes to say, hey, what do you do that for?
Wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, wake up, like.
And that they call that awareness.
Yeah,
Bring awareness in your life wherever possible, because you will notice when you do something, you become an automatic machine. Like if you do something for the first time, it's new. It asks for your full attention, but after a while, it is stored in the mind, in the brain, and then it becomes automated.
Yeah.
And that is also what a lot of people do in relationships. They become automated. They don't see the partner anymore. Why are we happy? People comment, we are even labeled the happiest couple that people have ever seen.
I hate people happy.
But why is that? Why are we happy? Well, first of all, not because of each other. You have established, Jose has established himself in his meditation while he did his serious meditation practices. I have established and found my self-realization through my meditation practices. And because of that, we bring awareness into our relationship towards each other. And we don't take each other for granted, but not from here. Every time he walks into the room, if I'm not doing something, but I see he can still make the butterflies fly up in my belly because I see him. I truly see the other, and that's where many people go wrong. They think, okay, we are now with each other, so we are done. No. You have to bring the awareness in and live from gratitude and not from expectations, how the other should be and shouldn't be, and criticizing each other is a killer for every relationship. Why should you criticize somebody? Because you want another to change so you can feel in a certain way. And that young man, he wanted that girl, and she rejected.
You want to do it in a certain way as well.
Yeah, so he wanted that girl, came with expectations, and then she rejected him. Instead of coming together, and when you're meant to be with each other, it flows from two sides. If one starts working harder than the other from the beginning, that doesn't mean you shouldn't make effort, of course. Sometimes you carry each other. When somebody goes through, let's say when Jose lost his mom, I observed, I stood back because I am emotionally further away from his mom than he came out of his mom. So that is very close. And that is what I observed then. And reactions, you see other reactions for a minute because somebody is grieving. Because if you reach self-realization or enlightenment and come back to society, you create again new attachments because otherwise you can't function. His mom wanted her son. When he reached enlightenment, you are not the same man as that she saw going into prison 18 months before. So he had to make effort to play the role as son. And that doesn't mean when you play a role that it's not done with love. It's absolutely, you adored your mom. But what I try to say is that we have to bring awareness into all our relationships instead of expectations and wants and desires. And I think that the young man maybe forgot about that. Like you said, he already knows a lot of stuff he has meditated under your guidance for over 10 years maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, sorry.
We forget, that's it. We forget, and that's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. Our daughter Tamara is also working on her spiritual development, and we had to remind her too, don't be so hard on yourself when you forget yourself and get lost in something.
Yeah, because the biggest, again, a lot of problems we get is by thinking only about what we get, what we don't get, and what's good for us, what's not good for us, and blah blah. And a lot of people think that when you come into the relationship, that's the end. You know, you can't be spiritual in a relationship because you're attached to the woman, and but it's not true, because it's a great opportunity to practice non-self. I'm not saying that I practice that perfectly myself. I try to. And what you do is you think about the other. You lose the self. The whole idea of self-realization and enlightenment, self-realization and enlightenment, are two different things, but they both progress to the same place. There's even further now that I found, but we won't go there. And so what you do is you have to lose the self. That's the fake self, I call it. It's the personality, the thing that you've built up from when you was a child and how you react. You serve, you lose you serve. And if she's wise, she'll serve you. And it works out in perfect harmony if it's done properly. I would say to some people, well, look, it depends where you're at.
Yeah.
And I would say to some people, all relationships should be 50-50.
Two-way street, I call it.
Because what happens is...
But without expectation.
Yeah, but what happens is, often, and you'll have a couple that'll go through their whole marriage life like this, there's a battle in a way. It's subtle. It's a subtle battle of power. Who's the most powerful in the relationship? Who's willing to sacrifice or be the most hardest or be the most horriblest? So eventually somebody wins that struggle. Somebody steps down. The other person then takes more than what they give. And what I say is, to those relationships, to the person that's being given so much and not getting back so much, I say it should be 50-50. Force 50-50. And if it doesn't work, then all good and well, because what happens is eventually such a person who takes too much from the one person there's a dominant and a subdominant issue here. And what happens is the subdominant person will eventually, they will get all kinds of things wrong with them. And it's not good. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you look, even if you look at psychology, I remember some years ago I done a little bit of psychology, and I remember there was an experiment they carried out. They put two rats in together, and they had to fight, and the one was the dominant rat, and the other one was the subdominant. And so when there was food put in there, the dominant rat would take his as much as he wanted, and the subdominant would hide in the corner. And eventually the subdominant one it had all kinds of things wrong with it over its lifetime, and then it died young-ish, younger than this rat, who was the dominant one. And that is the same
in human beings.
It's the same as human beings. If you don't serve the other, which is the best way, because eventually from that, when you lose yourself, it's vacant space inside of you, and that vacant space is not really vacant. It's consciousness. It's what we call love. When we're in it, when we fall into that, it's universal love, and that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place to be.
Mm.
And actually, when you're giving everything, you're not losing everything. You're actually
You gain.
eventually.
Yeah.
It's like
you gain your freedom as well, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, like birds flying.
Yeah.
You know.
And the fact why are those people in relationship? Because those who argue a lot, well, they first of all they're tired, they have stretched themselves too thin, financially often, and tiredness combined are killers of any relationship. But it's the power struggle between the two. It's because they are both needy, and they are both needy because they feel insecure and they need to be in control. When they feel in control, they feel more safe. And why do we want to feel safe? Because we fear death. End of relationship is a death, physical death. End of your financial security is a death. It's not only just physical dying. So as soon as you start pulling and expecting things of each other, the relationship becomes poisonous, and it needs two people to come together. And communication, it's very difficult for a lot of people to communicate together because they are so hurt already, so they react from their pain body. So if somebody tells them something, often people tell, yeah, but what I don't like about you, and that's already an accusation, and that puts the other on the back leg straight away. So there's so much we can learn and do within ourselves without expecting the other to change, because you cannot expect somebody else to change. We have to change inside ourselves, how we deal with situations. What can I do to improve a situation? What is my contribution to this conflict, inside or out? I have done all this work. That's why I truly speak from experience. And I must say, it's so freeing. It's so freeing. Yeah, okay, it will not work for everybody, because if the other partner is not ready to do inner work and is abusive because of big traumas inside themselves and maybe even from former lives, we have domestic violence situations, and that's an unhealthy situation to be in. But this young man that is rejected doesn't come from a domestic violence situation, but still went into a situation expecting. And if she was also expecting, then the chances are that it doesn't work. And of course, I don't mean to say that you cannot expect somebody to be respectful towards you. If somebody is not respectful and treats you bad, well, don't expect anything, just walk away. That person is not for you in this life. And there's reasons for that. Yeah. The way that we came together, it's all planned out. We are born A and we end at C. And how we get to C, that's free will. But you will get to where you are meant to be in this life. No, nothing can convince me otherwise.
Well, part of the issue is you're looking for somebody to fit in with what you want. Mm. And
is that a preconceived idea? People come with a preconceived...
I want a beautiful woman.
Oh, yeah.
I want her to be kind, and I want her to give me BJ jobs.
Yeah, but there's expectation again.
I want her to do that, and she got to be like this.
Doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't work like that. So forget it.
Yeah, you will fall for something completely unexpected.
Yeah. A rose is a rose, just as a daisy is a daisy.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a field, you go and look at all the different plants, and you'll get a group of daisies, you'll get a group of wild roses, you'll get whatever there is in the field. There's trees, there's blackberry bushes, and they're all their own. You can't tell a blackberry bush to become
a
rose bush, or you can't tell a daisy to become something else.
Oh.
So that's the first thing you have to. It's the first law in a relationship you must follow, is You go into a relationship not with expectancy, not with trying to model them into what you want, because that's never, ever, ever going to work, so forget it. You go into a relationship and it should be like a magical mystery tour. What is this that I'm with? And you have to have the right mental attitude. What is this that I'm with? It's all beautiful. And finding out, learning and discovering new things.
And see the beauty of the other.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to find other people's faults, isn't it?
It's too easy.
So
if you want to look for fault, you'll find it.
Yeah. And if I may, when you talked, because when Osei talks, I empty my mind. I've also practiced that. And but when you said roses and daisies, I see pictures often, and I would like to share it. I think it's a nice one.
Tulips.
Yeah, and like attractive people want to attract an attractive rose. Some people find roses. Let's say
a tulip.
Yeah.
From Amsterdam. She comes from Amsterdam. She's a tulip. Tulips from Amsterdam. I saw a mouse. Where? There on the stair. Right there. Little mouse with clogs on.
Okay. Let me finish.
What did you say? I could get famous, you know.
Yeah, okay. Coming back to the rose.
Okay, the rose, sorry.
Let's say you come with a preconceived idea that you would like to be with a rose, because you consider that the most beautiful thing in the world. That woman you consider a rose, but there is a field with stinging nettles. Yeah, and a rose is delicate. As soon as you touch it, and it has really nasty thorns as well. But people are blinded by the beauty, a concept of beauty, because who determined that a rose is beautiful is just a mind concept. But if you would take the stinging nettle, they will sting. So you need to do it in a smart way, how to go about it. But if you make the stinging nettle part of you by making a tea out of it, let's say, and I don't tell you to cook your wife and make a tea or your husband. It's a metaphor. When you drink the juice that comes from a stinging nettle, you go on a high, which you will never get with a rose. And that is what I try to say here is, don't be blinded by the outside of something, because it can lead to a lot of trouble. And the most beautiful experience come from a field of stinging nettles, or something you wouldn't give even your attention, and it will bring you the highest high you can imagine. So life is an exploration, isn't it? Our inner life is an exploration, and by that you've come to understand the outer life. Don't try to understand the outer world. It changes all the time. We come back to role playing. Everybody out there, you think, oh, I know that person. That person changes his role, and you are confused because they changed their role. So come to know yourself, back to meditation, back to observing, contemplation, and then you will understand everything outside and why that lady rejected this young man.
Yeah.
And it's same in relationship with everybody, really.
It has the story got a little bit of a motto. It's like the stinging nettle, like, it's a really healthy food, you know. I'm into foraging, we're into foraging.
Yeah. We make stinging nettle.
But the stinging nettle is one of the most, it's got a lot of iron in it. It's got
minerals,
all kinds of minerals.
Depends where it grows, of course.
And it's really
really healthy.
Yeah, it's a kind of superfood.
If you eat it a lot, you become green, like Milarepa.
Yeah, Milarepa became green. But it's like, but in order to get it, first you've got to get stung.
Yeah.
And then you'll get all the benefits from it eventually. Same as a rose in a way. Rose is a beautiful thing, but it got pricks all around it.
Very
yeah, there's lots
painful.
of pricks out there.
Yeah, no, but stinging nettles, it's the same with people. Sometimes you have to wear gloves to be delicate towards another, and then once you can take the gloves off and then reap the benefits. Yeah,
and always remember the prison that you find yourself in, the suffering or the bad time you're in right now is happening because you stuck the bars around in your head.
It's the mind concepts.
Yeah.
It's
Just
the mind
remember,
concept, yeah.
you play in a role, and it's the role that's not like, it's the role that's hated, it's the role that feels rejected, it's not you.
No.
Remember, get it in your mind. This is a role. This is not who I am. We are much, much, much more beyond and greater than any role that you play, any role that somebody doesn't like. You may not even like that role. You can change it. That's the most liberating thing, do you know? When I discovered that I was not who I thought I was, and I had been playing this role, and I found out it wasn't who I was. And then I thought, wow, that's not who I am. What am I, you know? Of course, you know, it's nothing. And then you think, cold sweat, nothing? What do you mean nothing? I can't be nothing?
Yeah.
Scary.
Biggest fear for
But
most
then,
people, yeah.
Yeah, once you fall into it and accept it and feel it, you realise, like, you look at people, I can play whatever role I want. That's so liberating. And it's just great. You know, when you realise that you could be free. And she doesn't like you,
That's
don't
right.
matter. Like,
Yeah.
she got her problems, she got her issues. Because she's a pretty face and whatever size cleavage or whatever.
Yeah, but also he needs to look at himself. What was his contribution of the rejection? Because if he went in there as a bull in a china shop, he will always be chasing the wind, isn't it? So he needs to look too. How did I do it? What might triggered her rejection? What did I contribute to that? Not in a judgmental way, but to grow and to come to understand yourself. Did I come with certain expectations that scared the hell out of her? It's many, many things. Many, many things.
Sometimes it's like people put too many restrictions on a person. I want somebody, you know, there's a big long list, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this, that, it's got to be like this, got to be like that, got to be. And you see it on these dating shows, you know, that they used to have some years ago. I want a person who's like this. I want a tall, dark, handsome, just like me, with a big, big membrane, and as I am. And no, but
we had
so
we
what
have
you
a
do?
daughter. We have a daughter. She came. She was looking for a partner and couldn't find it because she had certain
Too many restrictions.
standards.
Yeah.
That had to be like this. Doesn't work.
It's like you should practice life, get up every day and let life unfold. If you go to the same job, you walk or drive or whatever, then it's never going to be exactly the same every day. Maybe close to it, but something's going to be different. The day unfolds, and it's like relationships. Sometimes something prompts you to go somewhere, and perhaps it's a nightclub, a dance hall, perhaps it's bingo, perhaps whatever it is. Sometimes you're drawn somewhere, go with it, let it unfold, and then suddenly the person who's looking for a wife finds a wife at the least unexpected moment. And that's how relationships happen, because sometimes something prompts you and things just happen. But when you go out there and you start looking, and then you've got to fit this list you've made of these people. It's like you're going around the dance floor, like, hang on a minute, put it to the side. And sometimes it's like, I've said this before as well, you've heard me say it, like, and of course I've got everything here with my wife, beautiful, you know, and really inside and outside, so caring. I couldn't ask for more in another human being. But it's like you put blocks on, and you don't get what you're going to get. You're going to end up on your own.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Mental concepts.
Yeah.
Because we look around us and, I like blonde hair. Oh, and I like big boobs. Oh, and I like that. And then you create an image. That is how I would like to be with that person I
Yeah.
would like to be. It doesn't exist.
When
It's
I was
just-
younger,
yeah.
I only wanted like to be with what I thought was pretty girls. You know, nothing else came into it. As I got older, I met some of the opposite sex, and ugly. You know, like as when I was younger, I'd say that's ugly. That is a minga type thing. Sorry, but
Again,
that's how we are. That's just
mind
the truth.
concepts.
And
Yeah.
but the thing is, right? I started realizing that some of those ugly people were absolutely beautiful people.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't mind spending time with those kind of people. And so it's like, as you get older, you learn that beauty, some of the most beautiful women are spoiled little
Are
brats.
very ugly inside. Yeah.
So you just gotta, as they say, let it unfold.
Yeah, don't look for mind concepts.
Yeah.
That's the whole message, really. We have to be careful.
Okay.
Time.
Okay then.
Yeah.
So the final word is, we are aiming to create in people a situation where they feel free, not caged birds, and they're outside the cage and they know what their wings are for.
Yeah.
They don't create a cage around them that they can fly and be free. You create the cage, end of.
Yeah. And go inside, because when you come to know yourself, you become an energy field that attracts people.
Yeah, that's right.
And not because of the way you look, because your looks will go.
Yeah.
We are in our 60s.
We're still good looking, no?
Yeah, but we take care of ourselves, but we don't look the same as when we were considered young.
I look much better.
Yeah, me too. But I do feel more beautiful now than when I was younger. And that comes from the inside. And that is what I would like to share with people. Do your inner work. Become the best you you can be. And not in role playing, but inside. You know where you come from, how you work, what you are not. You come to see what you are not. And by that, you energy field will change and you will attract that which is waiting for you, because that is it. You don't attract what you desire, because your desires are based on mind concepts and it doesn't exist. So do your inner work and just be peaceful. And that peacefulness comes from doing your inner work. That's all I would like to say.
And if they don't see the beauty that you see in yourself, just tell them to go to Specsavers because they've got something wrong with their eyes.
Okay.
Adieu, everyone.